Good morning. My name is Beluchi Okoronkwo, a rising senior at Loyola Blakefield, and hopefully I could deliver today's sermon with some semblance of competence. So recently, I went on a mission trip slash cultural immersion trip to Belize. For the first week, we were in San Pedro, where we snorkeled the barrier reef. We got to see the fishes, sharks, and turtles that live there. But the second week, we were in Belize City, where I met Miss Guzman and her daughter, Miss Loretta. Miss Guzman was living with her daughter and her three grandchildren. In fact, she slept in the same room with these grandchildren. But in the end, it was Miss Loretta's situation that got me thinking. Her husband had left her to care for their children and her mother. This was a strain, and that's the basis of what I wanted to get here today: responsibility. This word responsibility, that usually precedes a migraine, headache, or spontaneous blood vessel popping. But I digress. You see, we all have a responsibility, both to ourselves and those around us, to carry our own burdens, suffer through our own alienations and struggles, and thorns. Miss Loretta's thorn was the absence of her husband, a father figure for her children, a comforter, and a protector. This word thorn reminds us of Paul's letter to the Corinthians. The Corinthians were citizens of the Greek city of Corinth. In one word, they were considered pompous. They believed that they could do nothing wrong, and therefore not sin, which caused problems, hence led Paul to send letters, 2 of them, in fact. In 2 Corinthians 12, 7 through 8, Paul says, "Therefore, in order to keep me from becoming conceited, I was given a thorn in my flesh, a messenger of Satan to torment me. 3 times I pleaded with the Lord to take it away from me." The Bible never explains Paul's thorn, but there is a lot of speculation. Some suspected that Paul's thorn was some sort of physical ailment, but whether it was physical, emotional, or spiritual, it has never been answered with satisfaction. Some of the more popular theories of the thorn's interpretation include a chronic eye problem, malaria, migraines, epilepsy, and a speech disability. In other words, they don't know. However, Paul sent this letter to encourage the Corinthians to be more humble and less conceited. Let us stop for a moment and reflect. We all have our thorns. Do you have a thorn in your flesh that torments you? I contend that we all do. For some, it's if only I were taller, if only I were prettier, wealthier. In other words, it could be anything physical, emotional, spiritual. A thorn that I carried in my own flesh appears in my sociality. Unlike my older brother Biafra or younger sister, social interaction does not come naturally to me. Yes, I admit, despite my calm and composed and charming demeanor, I am actually quite shy. Actually, I'm excruciatingly shy. I'm uncomfortable meeting new people and find it difficult to maintain prolonged conversation, small talk. I have to fight myself mentally to stop from receding into a shell that I created. And after all these years of congressional debate and plays, it still has not gone away. This is my thorn and my cross to bear. It is my shyness that keeps me from being conceited. After all, in Luke 9:23 it says, "Then he said to them all, 'Whoever wants to be disciples must deny themselves and take up the cross daily and follow me. As I will, and so shall you.'" As did Simon of Cyrene, who literally lives out these words in Luke 23:26. As the soldiers led him away, they seized Simon of Cyrene, who was on his way from the country, and put the cross on him and made him carry it behind Jesus. I remember reading that power is perfected in weakness, and thinking, well, how does that make any sense? In fact, what madness possessed me to preach today? 2 Corinthians 12, 9 through 10. "But he said to me, 'My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness.' Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weakness, so that Christ's power may rest on me. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weakness, in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, in difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong. For when I am weak, then I am strong. Through our hardships and weaknesses, we become closer to Christ. For in my weakness, I learn to listen. Listen to others' stories and strife, and just be present in their time of need. People gravitated toward me because they knew I listened because I cared. And that allowed me to finally understand what God was talking about. For my power was perfected in my weakness. For when I am weak, then I am strong. My shyness leads to my strength. Our responsibilities are our thorns. They are God's burdens for us. These thorns remind us how we are not perfect, and only with His grace can we carry them. So if we are to be His disciples, we need to take up our crosses and follow Him. Matthew 11:30, my yoke is easy, but my burden is light. For through God's grace, we carry our burdens. Amen.